Alright, I'm making this video for William Sullivan, who's helping me put together something pretty intricate. So thank you, William, and here's basically a rough draft. And I should point out that even though the beginning of this and throughout there's some comic book characters, this video is by no means intended for children. I was thinking about the word crucis, how it's the anagram of it could be a circus, and we talked about the circus and crucis. And this video, well, the reason I put this image of family circus with the son, he's running around the yard or whatever, and the dotted line follows him. This is how this video is going to appear. It's going to feel like it's all over the place, but it'll make sense. Thought of it because the title was The Family Circus.
Circus. Ooh, her voice is definitely sexy still.
Yes.
Sexy circus? I like that. Oh my gosh.
I was thinking about how we used the word circus in a previous video, so I'll leave some links in the description box. But then comes to mind the Circus of the Sun, Cirque du Soleil. That's what that means, Circus of the Sun. And we don't have to use them in a future video, but a few songs come to mind in a music video. The Imagine Dragons, Radioactive, and also a Simon & Garfunkel song, The Sun is Burning. Also what comes to mind is the Red Hot Chili Peppers music video for Soul to Squeeze. Not so much the song, really the music video. There's some snakes there. We talked about how this connects with snakes. And Soul to Squeeze music video takes place in a circus. And their big album around that time was Blood, Sugar, Sex Magik, which makes me think of Crowley, Aleister Crowley, with the sex magic. And well, they spell magic with a K in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Aleister Crowley spells it slightly different, but still uses a K. I'll leave a link to my video that I did about Crowley. Some backwards letters and reflected letters, upside down letters. You get some words that equate to 93, which is big with Thelema and Aleister Crowley. And some special numbers just looking at the cover, some of the cover versions of the Book of the Law. Right? There's, I guess, many different versions, but one that you can come across has some Roman numerals. You can see the Roman numeral 220, the Roman numeral 93, and the Roman numeral for 666, as well as the Arabic numeral 418. Crowley was about, reading things backwards, listening to phonographic records backwards. I'm sure there's some mirror work done, so it's kind of intriguing. And starting at the bottom left there, you see the DCLXVI. That's Roman numeral standing for 666, and equate this to the planetary magic square of the sun, where if you add all of the numbers in that square, the total is 666. We're talking about the Sator square, flipping the mirror image backwards. Some interesting things are coming to light here. Talking about the circle you can find there, the 5-pointed star, spelling out Rotas, Sator, or Astro. So above that DCLXVI, you can see XCIII equals 418. Well, that's interesting. I've never seen a gematria calculator that can get those letters, that Roman numeral X, C, I. I've never seen it equal 418, but if we use the keypad cipher of gematria and spell out the words 418, right, that equals 93, which is all about Thelema and Crowley. So again, we can get that 93 by spelling out the words 418. And 418 is, if you look into Aleister Crowley, I guess his guardian angel type thing or whatever, he took to the number 418, and his entity he was communicating with, Aiwass. I don't know how to pronounce it, but either way, he found out that certain spelling equals 418. He was amazed by that. So 418, think about the date, 418, April 18th. First of all, it's the 108th day of a standard year. So we're not talking about leap year. April 18th, 418 is the 108th day of the year. And there's a whole bunch of reasons that the number 108 is very special in mathematics and in religion. It's been said that the distance of the Earth from the Sun is about 108 times the diameter of the Sun. And the distance between Earth and the Moon is about 108 times the diameter of the Moon. So there's our 418. The 108th day of the year is typically 4/18. Now, that takes care of that Roman numeral 93, but what about the one above that, CCXX? So the Roman numeral CCXX stands for the number 220, and the 220th day of the year is typically August 8th, 88. 88's important to Back to the Future, 88 miles per hour in time. 88 is made of 4 circles, if you think about the degrees in each circle, 360 degrees in each circle, times the 4 circles equals 1440, a big time number, how many minutes there are in a day. But 88 is also related to Quantum Leap, which we've used, Quantum Leap and Back to the Future. The time traveler's birthday in Quantum Leap, born 8/8. Something that comes to mind is that the FM range if you look at the FM dial of radios, modern radios, right now it still ranges from 88 to 108. And I've talked about this before. The word radio, Ra and Dio, R-A-D-I-O. What is Ra? Ra is a sun god. Dio also means God in Italian. Dio, so Ra and Dio, sun god, God. And speaking of sun god and a solar deity, I have to bring up Superman. We've talked about this in some previous videos. Superman is powered by the sun. And just watch one of the movies that got the worst reviews probably is Superman 4, Superman IV, The Quest for Peace. Lex Luthor basically created some type of a clone or whatever of Superman. He was called it Nuclear Man. And it seemed like he was even more powerful than Superman, except Superman covered... he was also powered by the sun. And Superman, if I remember correctly, moved the moon. He literally controlled the moon. Superman's powered by the sun, but he moved the moon in front of the sun so that Nuclear Man wouldn't win. But remember, it talked about the sun, the moon, the earth, and the number 108. And once again, in a standard year, the 108th day of the year is April 18th. That 4/18, 418. Now, there's some debate about this, but the first appearance of Superman in a comic book, Action Comics #1. It's a very valuable comic book. Supposedly, this comic book, even though it's dated June of 1938, it was published on April 18th, 4/18. Again, this is debated, but it does make sense. Think of even a lot of magazines that come out nowadays. They're dated ahead of time. So yeah, supposedly published April 18th, 4/18. That 4/18 is seen on the Book of the Law. The Roman numeral 93 somehow equals... Oh, sorry. Yeah, equals the number 418, and the word spelled out, 418 equals 93. April 18th, the 108th day of the year. Again, they say from the moon to the earth is 408 moons. From the earth to the sun is 108 suns. And, how do we actually prove these things? I'm not sure, but there was that diagram that showed that the sun was 108 earths in diameter. Also, look up the image of a regular pentagon. The pentagon, the 5-sided shape, 5 points. The regular pentagon. The degrees inside, each interior degrees, 108 degrees. think about a pentagon can be seen in the middle of a pentacle or a pentagram, and also in the Superman symbol, the shield that he wears on his chest is the letter S surrounded by a pentagon shape. Now that's not, the interior degrees are not 108 in that, I don't believe so, but it's worth mentioning. Especially considering we showed a pentacle with, in the Seder square, you can see, okay, yeah, you can see the word astro, and you can see the pentagram shape, or the pentacle shape, 5-pointed star. So there's more to talk about, but I'm running out of time. So a little quick recap, maybe add a few things. Looking at the Book of the Law, it shows 3 sets of Roman numerals: 220, 93, and 666, with the actual Arabic numbers 418. So looking at the first one there, CCXX represents 220. That connects with 88 because the 220th day of the year is 8/8, 88. Remember the radio dial, the FM radio dial. It ranges from 88 to 108. FM radio dial ranges from 88 to 108. 108 connects with the sun, the moon, the earth, and then the 108th day of the year is typically April 18th, 418. You can see the number 418 on that Book of the Law there. Supposedly, the Roman numerals XCIII equals 418, going back to 93, all the Thelema stuff, and Aleister Crowley spelled with the backwards letters. We can get it, that's 93. The Mark of the Beast, we can get a 93. The Number of the Beast, we can get it 93. The sun is said to be 93 million miles from the Earth. Of course, Aleister Crowley found importance in the sun. It's said that Crowley was on an expedition with his first wife. I don't know if it was his wife at the time. Was it Rose, Edith Rose, something like that. But anyway, he was on this expedition, and she said that she had talked to a god. I believe it was, don't quote me here, maybe Helios. But either way, he asked her some questions. He didn't quite believe it. He'd been studying for so long about this stuff with the occult, and he couldn't believe that she had been actually communicating with a god before he would. And they went to this museum of sorts, and she was able to point out exhibit number 666. And of course, the 666 connects with the sun, with the planetary magic square of the sun. And if you look at the Seder square, look at the middle of the screen here. I've modified it a bit, but you can find Ra, R-A, in this square at least 4 times that I see R-A, like a crossword puzzle or a word search, I guess. Ra. Also, you can find the circumpunct, which can represent the sun.